we'll go ahead and get started, and yeah, I'll let Gary take off the intro.
Well, thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. And welcome, everybody. I'm Gary Whalen from Michigan Department of Natural Resources Fisheries Division. I'm a longtime program manager. I manage our research section and some other programs. And today I am representing both the Fisheries Administration section, which I'm currently the president, and I'm also the second vice president of AFS. And I want to really welcome you all to this initial meeting of the AFS Angler Survey Committee. It's pretty remarkable. It's a joint committee, although it's housed under the Fisheries Management section. It's also supported strongly by the Fisheries Administration section. And we're really pleased that we have such a broad representation and interest from so many people who are currently on here. We have well over 60 on the line right now, a broad range of agencies and entities. And to speak about and look at what's a really important topic, which are creel surveys and angler surveys, which are really a critical component of our ability to manage our fisheries, because they do provide key information on fish communities, on fish populations, key population rates like mortality rates, the effects of habitat projects and access projects, and ultimately the socioeconomic value of our fisheries that always gets the attention of decision makers. And it's absolutely impossible from my perspective to manage fisheries without these data, particularly when done in nearly real time or real time. That information is absolutely critical for us to make real decisions that ensure our fisheries are successful. But the other side of the equation, which is one of the reasons why you all are here, in addition to learning a lot of new things and providing new recommendations on how to do these types of surveys, is that they're extremely expensive to do. Those of you who manage these types of programs know how expensive it is to collect angler data in any particular fashion. And to give you just an example, I'm responsible for our creel census program. We spend about $2 million a year on creel census out of a $30 million budget. And that only really captures information on the Great Lakes. And even then we have gaps in that coverage. Although the Great Lakes are 38,000 square miles in the state of Michigan, we really don't even sample those the way we'd like to. It's the very best we can do based on the budget we have. And little is captured on our 10,000 inland lakes or 72,000 miles of flowing water, which would require another $2 million to do properly. So finding new and efficient ways and effective ways for us to capture this information and make it usable for decision makers is utterly critical. And it's ultimately your task as a member and as being involved in this AFS committee is to help us, first of all, learn from each other new tactics and new techniques, and really to improve and move the science forward of angler surveys. So I really look forward to seeing the results of this committee over time. We look forward to seeing you reporting back and having symposia that present many of the findings that you all find. And we're looking forward to you making a difference in fisheries management all across the world. So with that, Dave, I'd like to welcome everybody to this first meeting and look forward to seeing the results of it. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Gary. And just going to share my screen here. All right. Can somebody put a message in the chat just to make sure you guys are seeing that? All right. Thumbs up. Let's go. So, I'm Dave Smith. I'm a fish biologist with Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. And part of my duties for Texas Parks and Wildlife is to help maintain and update our creel program. And in partnership with Abby Lynch and Nick Sievert of USGS, along with the Fishery Management section of AFS, we've been working toward building the Angler Survey Committee community with the hopes to foster a network of fishery professionals that have an interest with angler surveys. And for this first meeting, I'd like to engage with this group and directly gather some feedback from y'all to see what you would like to see this group accomplish. But first, I'm going to describe some of the motivations that led to the proposal of this committee. As I'm sure all of you are aware, otherwise I'm not sure you'd be on this call, creel surveys are integral parts of understanding fisheries, particularly when it comes to understanding anglers. And creel surveys are broadly implemented across the U.S. to characterize effort, catch, and harvest, utilizing a wide-reaching range of creel designs to intercept and interview anglers. These creel designs are uniquely designed based on aspects of fisheries with over 30 different interview and count methods that were listed in the U.S. Inland Creel and Angler Survey Catalog. However, even though these surveys vary tremendously from region to region, fishery managers across the board are going to face similar challenges related to characterizing anglers that are not confined to specific regions. One of the broadly based challenges affecting fisheries includes shifting environments as extreme weather events become more common with the changing climate. Climate change is currently affecting species ranges, available habitat, and the composition of fish populations with vulnerable environmental tolerances, among other effects on fisheries. Now, while using fishery-dependent data as an indicator of population abundance has its biases, there is potential to standardize this data, use it as a proxy for population level shifts in response to climate change. As innovations in technology are going to increase catch and harvest efficiency, increasing fishing power can also affect fish populations across the country. And with the utilization of angler survey data, there's the potential to identify the impacts of increased angler take and assess whether regulatory action may be warranted for fisheries. Additionally, the population of anglers is broadly growing across the U.S., and this expanding population may require innovative sampling strategies to gather more precise estimates, while concurrently this increasing population can lead to inflated pressure intake. Angler surveys are an important part of assessing these impacts. Further, each of these broad-based shifts are tightly linked to each other and can lead to further compounding effects when seen in tandem. So as these issues are not regionally distinct or happening throughout the country, we proposed the formation of the Angler Survey Committee to connect creel coordinators across the U.S. so that they could develop adaptive management in response to challenges like the ones I just mentioned, as they pertain to characterizing anglers. We also see this as a place where we can compare state scale trends and ultimately identify regional patterns and processes. Lastly, this committee can provide managers a forum to discuss the efficacy of specific management strategies. There could be a management strategy that one state is considering that another state has already implemented. And I can give an example of this here. At TPWD, we've done a really good job at characterizing reservoir fisheries through creels. However, we're trying to adapt our creel program to get more information about rivers. So we hope that through this network, we're going to be able to get some feedback from folks who are directly involved with stream and river-based creels, and hopefully we can provide some feedback when it comes to reservoir-related creels. And we hope that this connection can really help guide the decision-making process when it comes to management strategies. Primary duty of this committee is going to be to create a space to connect AFS members, to connect, discuss challenges, and provide feedback as it pertains to implementing and developing angler surveys. We propose hosting quarterly webinars with discussion opportunities on topics of interest to the community. And while we hope that this committee may provide a space for both inland and coastal managers, we also acknowledge this as a opportunity to critically examine the work that was conducted by the U.S. Inland Creel and Angler Survey Catalog, or more commonly referred to as CreelCat. For those of you that are unfamiliar, CreelCat is a database of inland angler surveys from over 40 states, which has compiled information related to catch and harvest metrics, angler effort, and angler preferences. For more information on this database, you can reach out to my co-facilitators, Abby and Nick, who've been instrumental in creating and maintaining this database. And lastly, we would like to determine whether a standing committee housed within the fishery management section is warranted. As things currently stand, this will be a special committee designated for a duration of 2 years, and we hope that over the course of those 2 years, we can demonstrate the need for standing committee status. Now that neatly sums up the duties and purpose that we've proposed for this committee. But before moving on to the next section, I'd like to give my partners, Abby and Nick, the chance to introduce themselves to the group and touch on anything I might have missed before moving forward. So with that, I'll go ahead and give you guys the floor.
Thanks, Dave. Hi, everyone. I'm Abby Lynch. I'm a research fish biologist with the U.S. Geological Survey. I am with the National Climate Adaptation Science Center, as is Nick, and I am based in Virginia. And I wanted to just thank everyone for joining today. It's really great to see how much turnout we have on this call, and just give Dave another round of thanks for kind of coordinating everything and pulling us all together as a group.
Sure, I'll kind of echo what Abby said, thanking everyone for being here, thanking Dave for all his efforts to get this rolling. And also, I see a lot of familiar names that are attending here today. So to all of you who kind of helped us with CreelCat, just again, extending our gratitude for your willingness to help us out with the project, and hopefully we can return that value to you all. So thanks.
All right. With that, we're going to move on to the engagement portion, and going to start with a poll, and you should be able to see this poll on your screen. And if not, you can review it in the chat, but we like to see what this group looks like. Where are you currently employed? Is it state agency, federal agency, academia? If it's something other, please list that in the chat as well. All right, looks like a lot of state agency folks. That's good. Yeah, we definitely want to hear. We definitely want to hear from those state agency folks, and we hope that this committee is going to help with the management that those state agencies accomplish. All right, we'll move on to the. Oh, Steve, do you want to say something? I just saw your hand was raised. We'll move on to the next question. Have you ever collaborated with agencies across state borders? All right. Well, it looks like most folks have, but there's a good number of folks who have not collaborated with folks. The next question is, would you like to in the future? And we hope that if the answer is yes, we can make that happen here with this committee, especially for those who answered no to the first question. All right, 100% yes. That's what I wanted to see. All right, this next question's a little more in depth. I have a few management issues there, and if you can rank these in order of priorities, particularly with the purview of your position, where do these particular fisheries management issues rank as far as your position goes?
Yeah, and for ranking high to low, number one would be most important, and
Yep.
Hopefully folks are able to just click on them and drag them to move them up.
All right, it's definitely interesting to see these responses, and that way we know what types of topics to focus on in the future.
Dave, sorry, this is Paul Ventrelli. Can you visually, or can you share maybe your screen? I can't. Something's wrong with me for the poll, so I can't see the results or participate.
Can you look in the chat? You might be able to see them there.
No.
Yeah, and also, well, maybe Dave, we could just list the order of them for folks that are on phones, and then also Paul. I think everything will be saved in the Teams meeting, but I'm not sure if that's always saved with guests or shared with guests, so we can figure out a way to share the results after the meeting too.
Dave, is there a way to close the poll? I think people can't see the results until the poll is closed.
Can you see that now in the chat? But if you can't see it, shifting angler preferences and behaviors is number 1. Increasing effort and fishing power is number 2. R3 is number 3. Economic impact is number 4, and climate change is number 5. So shifting preferences, increasing effort, R3, economics, climate change. All right, so the next question, we have a list of topics here that we could see focusing a future angler survey webinar on, And which of these topics would you be interested in seeing a webinar on?
And also feel free, if you have other ideas, pop them in the chat, or if you're having trouble with the chat, maybe you can send us a follow-up email.
Yeah. I like that. Using CRIL surveys to examine regulation changes. I think that's something that's really important for, especially for the fishery managers that are here. More data for less money. That's great. We have climate change and angler trends. Online tournaments compared to CRILs. Very interesting stuff. So results of that poll, pulling it up right now. All right, so survey design was the #1 response with 19%. Also, electronic self-reporting was another top response with 19%, followed by regional recreational trends, data management, and updating the angler survey methods textbook. So yeah, the results of all these, we're going to find a way to neatly summarize all these results, and we'll share them with everybody that attended this meeting and everyone that's interested in getting those results going forward. So I also have one more polling to gather some free responses in a little bit easier way, and I'm about to put this in the chat. So you can either go to menti.com and enter that code to answer this poll, or you can follow the link that I just posted to answer that question. We want to know, why are angler surveys important for the work that you do?
And feel free to speak up if you're having trouble getting to the link or anything like that. I know it's a lot of different tech transfers and it can be complicated.
All right. Got a lot of useful information here. Yeah, definitely important for real-time management for sure. I love Creel equals human dimensions. I know that's a big part of understanding Angler base and understanding the human dimensions of fisheries, which is definitely an area that we can focus on going forward. All right, this is some really good information. It's
Yeah, this is great. And if anyone wants to weigh in with kind of commenting on or elaborating on your responses, we will have these all saved for internal committee kind of next steps, but feel free to also jump in if you want to elaborate a bit more.
yeah, this is all really great information. It's a little harder to weed through live to summarize what's going on here, but I really appreciate all the responses, and we're gonna move on to the last open-ended question that we have for the group, and where do you anticipate needs for innovating angler surveys?
Can you elaborate, Dave, on what you mean by where? Like certain sectors or?
Yeah, I guess just broadly speaking, what do you see as important for the future of angler surveys? Where standardization, that's a big one. Yeah.
Just seeing Kenneth's question in the chat about angler surveys here, and if that's necessarily synonymous with Creel survey. And I think I think we want to think broader, so not necessarily just Creel surveys, but more broad.
Yeah, I echo that. That's exactly what I would have said there as well. All right. Well, I think we're still getting some responses here. I think I'll transition to the very last one. I'll leave. I'll leave this open. But last question I want to ask the group here, and feel free to address the group if you want to speak, or go ahead and put something in the chat. But what do you want to see this committee accomplish, and what would you like to get out of this network that we're trying to build?
Nick Phelps here, Arkansas Game and Fish. Oh, everybody's writing it. Well, I just figured I would speak it.
Yeah, please go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Yep. You know, there's been a fair amount of emphasis on standardizing methods, which is great, but we found in kind of our internal standard operating procedures document, it's just, you know, there are, as you said, 30 plus methods, and to write that in a document in a way that's easily consumable and standardized can be kind of tough. And so something that we've recently started implementing was a Creo committee, where rather than having a document, we just have pooled individuals, where it just allows for an opportunity to come together and speak and tackle on an individual basis how the best way to design a Creo for whatever your resource and objectives are. And it's still up in the air on how successful that's going to be, but just thinking from the standard methods, it's just really hard to put that in a document versus just having subject matter experts you can kind of bounce back and forth with.
I think.
Oh, go ahead, Dave. I was just going to say thanks, Nick, and thanks to everyone for putting ideas in the chat too.
Yeah, I was just going to thank Nick as well, and I think that's definitely something that a lot of folks on this call can relate to. I saw the first comment here about updating the Angler survey methods book, and it no longer being in print. And I think that is something that I can see some folks directly involved with this committee having a hand in, and also I think having a resource or an appendix to something like that with some script in R to do those calculations firsthand is something that would be very useful to this group, and I glad to see that sentiment is echoed by a lot of folks here.
Yeah, there's a lot of great content, and I'm definitely seeing some themes popping out in terms of Nick's comments and also those in the chat. And I think earlier in the chat, a couple folks had suggested doing a couple word clouds. So I think that there are a few themes that would pop up through doing something like that. It's a really quick and dirty approach to see where people are at. Yeah, and I guess, I mean, feel free for folks to continue to kind of ruminate on this question and continue commenting in the chat, or if folks want to do a verbal comment such as Nick, feel free to do that as well. I guess just thinking towards kind of next steps, obviously, it's hard to gather a lot of information from a group this large, but we're very excited that this group is so big in terms of folks that are interested in this. And so I think Nick and Dave and I will, as a next step, really try to synthesize the information that everyone's provided here today, and then share that out with everyone in terms of next steps. I think there's a lot of good ideas already to start that quarterly webinar approach, and then a few other topics that are clearly things that everyone's interested in tackling. So I think we have a lot to go from here.
Yeah.
Dave, go ahead.
Certainly, I think we do, and I know that there's probably a lot more thoughtful responses that a lot of folks could have given here that a chat box couldn't entail. So I think I'm going to try to follow this up with the chance for everyone to provide more thoughtful responses, as well as also give those who could not make this meeting the chance as well. So be on the lookout for a follow-up with that. But if you want to have communication and correspondence with Angler Survey committee proceedings in the future, whether that's webinars or whether that is future workshops or whatever that may entail, you can scan that QR code, and I'm about to put it in the chat as well. This is the contact form to get on the email list to remain connected with the Angler Survey Committee. So if you fill out that form or you follow that QR code to the form, that will keep you informed with committee proceedings. I love that Angler Survey Methods PDF is in the chat. That's great. I hope that nobody here has spent just $1,000 on Amazon to get that copy. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but if you look up Angler Survey Methods, there's a copy on Amazon for $1,000 right now. Yeah, I'd like to just echo the connection between human dimensions and creel surveys. I think it's something that I've had to focus on with some of my research, and I know it's an area that fisheries professionals in general are trying to become better at. And I think ultimately what we're after is finding ways that we can better understand our anglers. And creel surveys are a great way to do that, but there's also other surveys that come into the play to answer those questions as well. And I think I invite anyone that's interested in characterizing anglers, whether it's creel surveys or whether it's more of a human dimensions direction as well. I think those two paths are. It's important that they're connected for future management.
Well, thanks, Dave and Nick. I don't know if Gary, you want to make any final closing comments?
I will be glad to, Abby.
Okay.
First of all, I really appreciate both the fisheries management section speaking on Jeff's behalf and Julie's behalf, and of course the leadership of the fisheries administration section. Really appreciative of your efforts on getting this started. It's long overdue. The amount of money we spend nationally on creel census, I'd hate to find out how much it is, but I bet you it's a heck of a lot. And we need to do it better. We got to find ways to build a stronger community. We have to look for ways to improve our abilities to reach our anglers and reach our publics. And we have to figure out better ways of using the data and making sure it gets into decision-making processes. So to do so, we have to make a difference. And this is a great opportunity for all of you to add to the community of practice around creel census and creel census and creel surveys. So thank you very much for getting this started, and I look forward to hearing more from all of you with respect to this important issue.